Three, two, one. Are you ready?
Here we go!
Welcome to your weekly dodgeball podcast. For all the latest and greatest updates, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Crosscourt Live. And now your host. Please welcome
Travis Tomlin.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Crosscourt Live. I'm your new host for this season, Chaz Wilkins. We'll pour out a 40 later for our fallen host, Travis Tomlin, but we have a whole bunch of cool stuff to bring you this season on 101.5 The Catch FM. We're also on station 2091 on satellite radio. But in all reality, my name's Travis. Thank you for bearing with me through this some sort of a hiatus that we had, a disappearance. I have my reasons for not being here. Hopefully you're understanding enough, but I'm super psyched to be here for Crosscourt 13. This is the 13th installment of a dodgeball podcast that I started last season. If you're unfamiliar, if you're a viewer with us that's brand new, diving in for the first time, what a good place to start off than with episode number 13. In most cultures, 13 is a unlucky number. I think buildings don't put it in their floor plan, or they skip over it, which is crazy. I mean, you're on the 13th floor if you're on like floor 4. Fuck it. The point is, episode 13 was a hard place for me to start off on. I didn't know how to get into this season initially, but we'll get to that later. I'm so excited to be back. We have a cool bunch of things coming today. I'll talk about my sort of direction I have in mind for this season of Crosscourt, just trying to get back on track. I'll give a brief overview of the Knights, at least insofar as I have knowledge of them right now. I'm playing all 4 Knights, but I don't know all the players yet. We're not that deep into the season. I'll talk about the season so far, anything that's been happening, anything particularly exciting, notable. I'll talk about some up-and-coming teams. I've got my eye on a couple teams that I think are pretty sweet. I don't know if I've identified one for each and every night, though. I may be reaching here and there, but I do have a couple that are worth talking about. After that, I'll pay tribute to some of the awesome Twitter questions I got through the off-season, and I'll also talk about, it's not necessarily a thought experiment, because that's not what it is, but just sort of a question I thought to myself before I went to bed last night will be sort of our closing topic, and hopefully a launching point into other self-directed discussion. I asked myself last night before I was going to bed, it was extremely late, like it was like 5 in the morning. This is my weekend. Monday and Tuesday right now are my weekend, just the way the week worked for me, schedule-wise. And so I asked myself, if you could go into a dodgeball time machine and take the VDL all the way back to an earlier season, say season 1, 2, or 3, would you do it? Would you leave behind sort of the structure, the strategy, even the VDL organization as it is now, and attempt to go back to sort of a possibly romanticized time? Sort of a historical time now. It's sort of in our oral history, this magical dodgeball feeling that was the early seasons. It's indescribable, and for most of us, it's entirely uncapturable. We'll never get it again. You will never get this same feeling you had the first couple times you had dodgeball. So would I try, jump into machine, avoiding all the fallacies, apparently, that Looper had in it? Fuck me, right? I enjoyed Looper. Sorry, guys. Going out on a limb here and just standing up for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Someone has to. Yeah, I'm his only fan. That's not true at all. So, starting off, let's talk about the direction we have, or I have in mind, because it's my show. The direction I have in mind for this season. I'm hoping to do weekly shows. I will do weekly shows, and I'm hoping to have a ton of guests on. I was kind of adamant that my first show would be a solo show from me, only because I wouldn't say these are the ones I enjoy the most, because I do have a bitchin' fun time when I have people in here. But I was adamant that the first one would be a solo show, mainly because I don't have the microphone that I used to have to record multi-person shows. It's no longer here, so I'm limited to doing Skype recordings or Skype interviews with people if I wanted to have them with me on the show, and that's a step back in terms of show quality, I think, because as soon as I brought someone into the studio with me, the conversation just got so much better. I was able to read them so much further, and any sort of possible awkwardness that was had over a Skype conversation was totally gone. Plus, we couldn't disconnect either. There was no disconnects. So weekly shows, people in studio. You may notice that these shows will get out earlier. You'll only notice that if you're up at like 4 in the morning when I'm usually posting these shows. And that's because I got a brand new computer. I went from like 5-year-old laptop. It was a solid guy, like it still stands up, to a like monster rig of a desktop. And so all my rendering is much faster. And now for realsies, video is an actual possibility. I'm not going to overcommit to that because that's extremely time consuming, and it would take more of a collaborative effort than I'm currently engrossed in. So if you're really on board with that, get in touch with me just to talk. I don't care. We can bullshit and come up with some fun things to do, man. It's a crazy, wide open format. But most importantly, for everybody, I know I sound okay right now, but I do have a new microphone on its way. It's a Blue Yeti USB microphone, and that will make me sound, I hope, a lot better, and it's also going to make multi-person shows a reality again, and I think those are important. So, I also want to know, this is where big feedback is involved. Currently, I do feel pressure to not have this sprawling mindscape of a show, only because I'm like, well, some people want completion, and they don't want to have to wade through bullshit. Like, I don't try to get off on massive tangents too often. It may not seem that way, but I'm way more tangential than I'm currently showing. I'm keeping my tangent cards rather close to the vest. And so, if you're one of those people, and I'm suspecting there's a few of you out there, don't be a vocal minority or a vocal majority, hopefully, on this one. If you're out there and you're like, Travis, just give me as much content as possible, what I will try to do is give a good hour of questions and guests and staying on topic. And then after that, I won't feel so compelled to wrap the show up. I will sort of let myself talk. We'll just hang around. If you ever wanted to just hang around and have content to burn through at work, maybe you like wasting time at work on YouTube. Maybe you're one of those terrible employees. I don't know. But maybe you... Maybe you just like, maybe you require more than an hour and a half of audio to fall asleep to usually. And, that's for you. This is for you, the insomniacs among us. Hopefully that's not a big deal because you're, tired from dodgeball. You go home and get a good night's rest. But maybe it's a thing. I don't know. Okay. So, enough of my season's direction rambling. Oh, no, I will talk briefly about my guests. I have a whole bunch of cool guests in mind. I don't have too many lined up. I have had people come forward and sort of ask me to be on the show, and that's always awesome. I do love hearing from you people, and I'm always keeping you in mind. But I do have a set sort of schedule in terms of what I want to bring to the show and what I can get out of people. I know what I can get out of certain people, and if I haven't sort of thought of you yet, it'll take me a while to sort of run it through the old memory system and see what I might be able to drum up in terms of awesome shows. I want the Bows a lot. I want Keith and Kevin. They'll come on. Hopefully it'll be a blast, just sort of reliving the history of the league. There's probably a good opportunity to do that in the next couple of weeks, only because the kiddies of the VSB are going on spring break. And it'll be a, prime time to sort of do weirder things. I'm also kind of happy in a way that I'm not happy. I'm totally regretful. But if there's a silver lining to not having done shows in the early season, it means I didn't give you 30 minutes a week of, hey, let's see how these teams did in regular season weeks that they really don't care about. When I'm looking at regular season standings, I'm kind of looking for people that are doing way above their sort of lot in the tier. If you're a good team and you're doing shitty, it means people didn't show up or you're just not trying that hard. I don't really take too much into performance that I can't see. I mean, I should say I don't invest too much confidence in performances I didn't see, because there's so many factors that can go into a league night and explain why or why not you didn't do so well. Once things start heating up later in the season, well then, I will speculate like crazy. Shout out to all the playoff predictions and stuff. I'm not going to do the Thursday, Monday. I'm not going to do Thursday, Monday playoffs yet. We do have 2 weeks. I still feel like they deserve their own show. And I'm really regretful for not giving you guys that show. It was just kind of, the season ended and I was free. I'm like, man, I'll push the show back. And all of a sudden the show's not happening. And that's kind of one of the ones where you want a whole bunch of people and you want some energy and you want a good recap. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and blame Rattel for setting the standard so high on the first recap, because that was really fucking awesome. Rattel was... he was just the most professional in-studio guest I've had so far. I say in-studio and pretend it's not a basement. It's totally a basement. Shout out to Rattel. Hopefully I'll maybe, if you're interested in this, let me know. Weekend at Bernie's screening, have some pizza, watch all the Thursday, Monday playoff videos, and then do a show. I think that could be a good time, and I know I've kind of got that laid out with Kyle and Coop, but if you want to pile on, let's pile on. Let's do this thing. And also, if you have an array microphone, want to bring it over, want to watch Weekend at Bernie's, and then do all that other stuff, let me know. It can happen. And so, yeah, that show will happen eventually. The beauty of having it all on YouTube is that we're able to go back and visit it later down the road and do that show. And also, it will have happened so long ago that we'll sort of glorify it a little bit more. We'll look back on it fondly. Members of HateBit won't look back on it so bitterly, having them played like shit that day, and all of us having played like dick. But so many things. An overview of the nights. Let's look at what the nights are shaping up so far. In terms of me having my fingers on the pulse and my ear to the ground, this may be the best season ever because I'm playing all 4 nights in Tier 1. And so I'm going to know teams, I'm going to see teams, I'm going to pull my hair out because I'm seeing the same players every single night. And that's really frustrating if they're amazingly tough to get out. So, Mondays, the most notable thing is the departure of Cat City Itch. If you were hanging around on the playoffs, Cat City Itch didn't have a good showing, and that team just doesn't exist anymore. Sometimes, the bad juju that can be associated with an awful playoff exit might make you want to just sort of take a little break, rethink things. And they had interesting team dynamic stuff going on there, apparently. I'll leave that for them to talk about because I really don't know much about it. There's 6 to 8 really good teams on Monday, and there's not really an obvious front runner yet. The big thing, if you want to, what was the big personnel change in Season 15 so far? It's that Luke left. Luke got a job in China. He had like a 6-month contract at least, something like that. I shouldn't be giving away too much personal information about Luke's work on air, but he had a whole bunch of teams lined up, and Luke's a fantastic player. He is Is he the best male catcher? He was the best male catcher, but he's not playing this season. I'd say he was, especially so close to the line. And he had to withdraw, but he had already committed to all these teams. So these teams, top flight teams, because they were able to wrangle Luke into the fold. He has to go, and all of a sudden, shockwaves through everything. So teams that were sort of obvious favorites are probably less obvious favorites because there's less Luke to go around. It's too bad, really. Luke's just such an exciting player, god damn it. The way he catches with a ball currently, he has ball in hand and he uses that ball as part of his catch. It's so different than what anyone else is doing, and it makes me sick. I throw up. You guys don't see me throw up, but I hold it in, do that whole big mouth chipmunk cheeks thing. Chipmunk cheeks. Ooh, never thought that would be hard to say. Bulges up, run to the washroom, throw up in silence. It's a respectful throw up, though. I'm not just Friday night, happen to be inebriated and throwing up. No, this is okay, man, I just saw something super cool, and now my body has to expel all the fluids that it has inside of it. That's the feeling that I usually get from watching Luke. Unfortunately, none of us are going to be able to see that for a while. Unless we watch the videos. You can see that all over YouTube. So, Lantern Corps is the team affected by no Luke on Mondays. But they have Al. I think Al's ready to break out. Al, Al Carril, 18 years old, full of spunk. He's moved to the big city, Lantern Corps, and he's ready to bust it. But Lantern Corps also lost Linda. And I'm not, she's now playing with the Sleepy Thrusting Pandas, which is a Grace, Cooper, Titus, Alvin, a really fun-looking team. But it's strange, like, how often do you see someone who won a championship on a night move to another team that's also in the same tier on that night? It's crazy. Maybe Linda is pulling a Dave Chappelle on us. That doesn't really line up because no one's getting paid to play dodgeball or making three seasons of awesome comedy. 2 seasons, and then like the third lost episodes. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, how about a little return of the Mac? We have Shane and myself returning to Monday nights for the first time in a long time. Not since I played with strangers in one of the seasons. But basically what I'm saying is Shane and I haven't played together on a Monday night in a really long time. I also played Dodge City. Fun fact is I didn't start Monday nights, but I was the initial director on Monday nights. Shane and myself played on a team called the Lords of Dodgetown, along with Joanne Chua, Cheryl Liu, C-Tam. I don't usually call Carolyn by her full name on the show. So C-Tam, Dexter was there. If you're new to the league, you won't remember Dexter. If you've been in the league in a while, you might have forgotten Dexter, and you're pissed off that I pulled that Band-Aid off of you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Rogan was there. Brandon was there. And for a brief time, my good friend Eric Chan was there. He's no longer a dodgeball institution, and he probably never will be. Yeah, we lost monumentally in the playoffs. It was a disaster. We proved to be the least resilient team in the world. It was a crisis. It was a crisis. It was a boy crisis is what it was. And Boy Crisis is the name of my new Monday team with Shane. I'm excited about it for so many reasons. We've got Nick Malika, we have Brandon Wen, Justin, myself, and Shane. And so it's a bunch of dudes that are all around the same age. We all have like the same energy level on the court. Everyone's trying, but it's not sort of over trying, and no one goes too seriously. In terms of lady pick, for some of you, S-Mac, Sarah Mac Hall, might have seemed like a left field decision for chicks, but we went to Carolyn. Carolyn, who do you want to play with? Because as like this amazing dodgeball sage, I really do want to hear her input. Like it's enough. It's good for 2 guys to sit down and make a team. But when you go to the players, like, man, who do you like playing with? Because some styles just gel with each other really well. And sort of the devotees among us will remember that way back in, it was the second season of 8-Bit, Carolyn had to go on a boat. She went on a cruise, and we needed a replacement for the playoffs. And so we knew about this in advance. This wasn't like, we snuck her in under the waivers. No. S-Mac played all the weeks for us, lots of weeks. She was well prepared, and then came and was part of 8-Bit along with Tiana. But along the way, Carolyn formed sort of an iron bond with Sarah Mac Hall, and we've always respected her game. She's such a baller player. But we just haven't had a chance to reunite, and now, Monday nights, why not? Let's do it. So we pulled the whole group together, and here we are with Boy Crisis. A lot of fun looks, a lot of interesting play from our 1 and our 6. If you're sort of, I'm buying into that describing positions from 1 to 6. This is left to right, so the way you see it when you're playing against a team. But if you're on your side, your 6 is your left and your 1 is your right, and then you sort of move along number-wise. Because Justin and Nick both play such cross-heavy games off the start. Justin doesn't have to, but he's got it up his sleeves, that our openings can be really dangerous for both sides. If they cross too much, we just lose ball possession, and then we're hooped. We're up the river with no paddle. Down the river with no paddle? Doesn't matter. And so, there's a lot of interesting things to consider, but with 5 guys that can sort of play anywhere, none of us are super limited to our position. I'm just excited for the possible looks we can give teams. Yeah. Who else have we got on Monday? Who else is awesome? Oh, man, the Chris Valance dodgeball experience. Oh, my God, that team is so exciting. Props to Trong for believing in something. That's... You guys are all great, but you sort of stick to your guns. No. Trung puts himself out there and sort of said, we need to build a team around Chris Valance. This team was going to be a lot crazier, I think, if Matt Kennedy wasn't going to Europe. Matt Kennedy going to Europe, we'll talk about that later, but he won't be around for the playoffs. And as a result, certain teams had to scramble. Certain teams had to change a little bit. For the unfamiliar, the Chris Valance dodgeball experience is Trong, Chris Valance, of course, Valance, I don't know. I heard it pronounced both ways today, and I don't want to pronounce it wrong anymore. Someone hit me up on that. Mark Williams and Byron. I think Byron is the 4th guy. I'm not sure if that's all the guys they have. Either way, very scary, very big throwing team. And plus, they have sort of the mastermind at the back. Trung, who I swear, Trung is playing the best dodgeball I've seen for a while. He's playing very youthful dodgeball, playing like a 20-year-old man. He is thrilling it out there, and of course they have Yam and Stella, the best girl duo in VDL. That's not a crazy. Now that Tiana and Carolyn are only playing with each other on no nights, I think they're the best duo, hands down. And so Sleepy Thrusting Pandas, we talked about that a little bit. Cooper, Alvin, Titus. Grace, Linda, and whoever wasn't there tonight. Either way, pretty cool looking team. Grace is such a ball. Grace is so good. I really like Grace for a lot of reasons. She's aggressive too. Aggressive, runs the court. Grace does her own thing. Combine that with everybody else. Alvin's always sort of that dark horse in the corner that can make huge catches. Titus is getting better exponentially. He's always had my eye, this Titus guy. Ever since the days of Wonderbang, ever since the recent days of Bonerwang. That's right, I'm still not calling you guys Bunderwang. Brown Chicken, Brown Cow, I believe that is Dan Salas, Henry, and a host of others, Steph, etc. Cool team, super fun, very dangerous potentially too. Henry for a big dude, Henry is insanely agile and really, really hard to get out. He blocks like a madman. He's a goalie. He plays a lot of hockey. He does play goalie, so I guess that's why his sort of positioning and reflex time is so absurd. But yeah, Henry, great dude. Short and sexy. Sort of short and sexy's transplanted from Thursday night. Here they are again on Monday. These guys are always a blast. They're full of beans, in the best way possible. Jason, James, Jay, so many J. Like whenever I watch these guys play and I'm sort of talking to them, I always get their names wrong. Sorry guys, that's because you have too many J names. Powen, is Angie Monday night on that team? Oh, somebody possibly. I know Val's there. I'm not sure if Angie's still on that team. You got Kwoo, you got Ron. Oh, it's so good. Apologies to most of the other teams, because I'm not absurdly familiar with you yet. I'm still getting used to the new names. Of course, Looney Tunes, a Witten and Wilson establishment. Great dudes. Lots of potential there. Pork is fun. Sean Chow, Calvin and Teresa, back in action on Pork, as a matter of fact. And of course, Oaktown. Ooh, I'll get to Oaktown later. Currently in weeks 4 to 7 at the bottom of the bracket with 5 wins. But I see a lot of cool things out of Oaktown. Their girls and their captain in particular are very good players. Give them time. These guys are young. They will be a very good team. Hopefully following in the footsteps of Eat, Pray, Dodge, who we'll also get to later. Tuesday. What do we got Tuesday? And of course, sorry to guys outside of 2 and 3. I mean, outside of Tier 1. I'll honestly just be wasting your time if I go too deep into those, because I'll just be looking at best names. Ooh, you know what? Let's look. Best name on Monday night. Currently last place is... No, that's not true. Sorry, you guys are going to have to Dirty 30, Saved by the Ball, Too Cheap for Shirts, Talk to the Hand, Pyre Squared. Lots of good names, but is there a best name? You know what, I'm going to give it to Dodge Caravan. Currently bringing up the rear, but, you know, best name, and that's really what counts, in my opinion, is having a sweet name. So Dodge Caravan, they also have bitchin' uniforms. They're formerly Grape You Found. If you want to go check them out, you know, check out Monday Nights, check out their shirt. Tell them Travis sent you. It'll be weird. They won't understand, like, what? Some guy got you look at his shirts? Why are you coming here? Go to your own gym. All right, Tuesdays, we're moving on. We're keeping it flowing. A lot of returning faces and some new faces too. A little dodgeball team that could is back with Matt Ho, Rob, Justin, I assume. There's Vic. You know, lots of good stuff. Siebes on that team. I wonder if Travis Houghton's still on that team. I don't know. Oh man, the People's Dodgeball team. This is going to be a very interesting team to watch. The People's Dodgeball team, if I remember correctly, at least the dudes, are Witten, Brandon, Alex Mitchie, and J-Ray. And that'll just be a very interesting team to watch for a lot of reasons. Let's see how they do come playoff time. As long as they can keep everything in check, team-wise, I think they'll have a very fun time, at least. I'm curious to watch. Whenever sort of new blood is sort of transfused into a bitchin' sweet team, you know, sparks can fly. It can be fun. Reckless and Execless is back. This is the Tuesday team that is affected by Luke's leaving. If I'm not mistaken, did they pick up Travis Feldman? Is it Shane, Travis, or have they always had Travis Feldman? Shane, Travis Feldman, Javu, Yammers. I'm not sure who the girl is. It could be Tiana still. Maybe they took Powen on full time. So many possibilities. You know, slap my wrist there for being uninformed on most of these teams. I haven't yet had my insiders send me full rosters on teams yet. That's my fault. Reckless and Execless, you know, great team year in, year out. Are they going to feel the Luke loss? You know, probably. Everybody's feeling the Luke loss. LA Dodge. LA Dodge is my Tuesday team. Super fun team, super exciting. Cooper, myself, Kyle, Al, Mark Williams. The ladies are Zim and Linda. The best thing about our team, though, is we have two things that make up our costume. Three things, actually. Holy crap. One, LA Gear shoes. We order these shoes. They light up, and they're so sweet. I'm never going to be able to wear them out of the house if I'm not going to dodgeball, because I'd be afraid of getting shanked for being the douchebag wearing light up shoes. You know, I'm 25 years old. I've got light up shoes. Clearly, I've got my priorities all in order. We got the light up shoes. Al and Kyle made a trip down to the States, I think coming home from Baker, and they picked up YOLO shirts. You only live once. Yeah, Adidas thought it was a good enough a sound enough slogan to run a marketing and t-shirt campaign around. So we have You Only Live Once shirts that we're all wearing. And finally, I came back from Hawaii and I bought everyone really, you know, thrifty Hawaiian friendship bracelets. I think they're just Hawaiian bracelets, but just by virtue of me giving them to a bunch of friends on my dodgeball team, they're now friendship bracelets. So we're bound by so many cool little trinkets and tokens and items that hopefully that'll put us over the top and, you know, maybe see us on top of Tuesdays. I don't know. We're a fun team. We're a fun team with a strong anti-fun component, man. Cooper just takes things too seriously. Cooper, man, you gotta ride the Mark Williams wave. Like, Mark Williams plays on the right and Cooper plays on the far left. And I think in between them is just this massive fun gradient. Mark Williams, funnest dude in the world. Cooper can be a fun dude, but he doesn't like losing. And we like throwing away dodgeball games occasionally in the name of fun. And so, you know, having one guy want to play super hard is super fine. And that's cool. And we would probably rethink our strategy if we weren't having this much fun. And we're really having that much fun. So we're having a blast. And we'll keep things up this way for a little while, I think. We'll get it in gear. Eat, Pray, Dodge is my team I want to watch. They are just steadily trucking along, rising up the ranks. Tons of good dudes on that team. I need to get to know them better. I need to watch more of their dodgeball. But they're sweet. Look for them to hang around near the top of Tier 1 for most of the regular season. And then I can't wait for their playoff game. Hopefully they've got enough playoff experience under their belt that they come out hard. I don't know. Ballerinas in suits. That is, I've played against ballerinas in suits like 4 weeks in a row now, so I know they're a team. I wouldn't say inside and out, but I know them. Another Henry team. Is Twan on that team? Eric? Maybe. No, that's not them at all. It's, oh Christ, it's Jeff B. Ryan? Is Ryan the white dude on that team? Henry, yeah, either way, they're a fabulous team. Jeff B's extremely dangerous. We haven't seen Jeff B on like a superstar tier 1 team yet. Some team needs to do that. They need to pick him up because he's definitely good enough to be like guy number 1 on a tier 1 team. His catch game, his throw game, and his just like dynamic game is unreal. He's a very unpredictable player. Who else we got? We got Stonecutters. We got Wonderbang. I'm interested. I don't know if Stonecutters is exactly the same as they were last season. Hopefully they are, because that's a hoot. That's Chris Val, Stella, Trong, et al., and others. Maybe Helene will be out there. Wonderbang, you know, the usual Wonderbang fare. I think Joe comes out for Wonderbang here and there still. Sort of. I don't. Yes, it's a rare enough occurrence to see Joe that it's always worth it for me to point it out when like these are your Joe watch opportunities. It's like an almanac. I could put out an almanac for when you can see these certain players. The CT and Joe almanac could sort of be the same book, and people would be interested. I'd sell like 15 copies probably, and that's not bad. That's enough to publish. Dodgy style, Panda Power, Dodgemas Prime. Holy shit, they're just called Dodgemas now. But this is sort of a legacy team from way back when. They don't have all the players that they used to, but at least they have Corey and Bahamut. No, I think Corey's Bahamut. Either way, so sweet. These guys were VDL staples from like season 2 on. Maybe they were there in season 1. And whatever team I was on always seemed to have these like massive like clashes with them in like the quarterfinals and semifinals. Like ultimately we were both going to get eliminated. Like that was a certainty. These were also the guys that would take their shirts off whenever they were about to lose. Like in their last game, elimination game, the shirts came off, and we didn't really have a no skin policy yet in VDL. But hey, they did it anyway, and it was super cool. Fat It All 2013, really just a tribute to the ivory tower of academia. And who's not down with that? Wednesday. Oh man, Wednesday again. Like Wednesday had a weird thing where it's now expanded to 15 teams in Tier 1. Last season there was 10 teams in Tier 1, but since you're playing 5 teams a night, it meant the pool of teams you had to play against was extremely limited. And you know, there weren't 10 Tier 1. Sorry to everybody that played in Tier 1, but there weren't 10 Tier 1 quality teams on Wednesday last season. And so now the fact that it's 15 big is great for sort of variety. But in terms of a competitive pool, it's going to make things crazy. I'm excited still because there's a lot of good in Wednesday still. And especially on a night that's 2 hours long when you're playing relatively few games per unit of time. It's good to sort of have variety. If you're just playing the same teams every week, you feel like you're in this Wednesday vortex. Maybe you're out in Queenie, so you feel like you're in a Queenie vortex. Not Queenie vortex, Queenie vortex. And, you know, Wednesday always just has the strangest energy around it. It can be really good, but you do have to make your own fun on Wednesday, just because you can literally go like 15, 20 minutes without playing a game, and that can be soul destroying. So, currently on top we have the Hurt Feelings, minus Kyle, who I managed to perform a coup on and pull over to my Wednesday team. Returning, the champions, the mascots from last season, a team I was on, isn't returning. I don't know why. We just all were ready to do our own things. Actually, I think I had my desire to do my cycling-themed dodgeball team already in my head, so I was like, yeah, peace, I'm out after the season. And lots of things. Hurt Feelings no longer has Kyle, but they still have Justin, Chris Morse, Shum Kynes, although I think Chris is gone for a while, Baron, fun little team. Super skilled too. Like those guys, for big dudes, they are so hard to get out, and that's really impressive all the time. In Dodge We Trust, is a super revamp. It was supposed to go back to very old school in Dodge We Trust, which would have been like Kevin Bow, Trung, Shane, Siebes, Zim, whoever. But like somewhere along the way, there was this massive like communication error, and suddenly Carson, Donald, and Cooper on the team. And so, totally different look out of In Dodge We Trust, but really dangerous look. I don't believe we've ever seen Cooper and Carson and Donald unite together, and put Trung's fingers in there if he's actually on that team. Like I haven't seen him yet. Put Trung's fingers in there as well, and Kevin's fingers, and it's like a really cool team. Tons of veteran experience, tons of championships on that team, and they could do some serious damage. Mike Vick and the Dog Pound. Cool for so many reasons. The biggest one being, they've stuck together for so many seasons, and Willis is back. If you remember, let's take a trip down memory lane to Marvelous. One playoff run, it looked like Marvelous was going to go chug. The Marvelous train was going to run right to the finals and win potentially. They were seriously playing that well, and they were doing it on the back of, Cheryl Lou for one, who was making some insane catches, and two, they were doing it on the back of Willis Van Nen, who was Mikey's older brother. Willis was an absolute monster. He had like an underhand softball throw. He could go overhand too if he wanted to, and he could still absolutely destroy you. And so there was Willis, and Willis was just dominating people, multiple catches, multi-ball. I think this was at Gladstone, as a matter of fact, and he tore his Achilles tendon. He fucking just like the most brutal, unreal, painful injury you can think of, and he happened to, suffer it there and was out for the longest time. But now he's back, and he's looking really good too. Oh man, it's so exciting. Mike Vick, however, did lose Travis Houghton, sort of taking a vision quest to sort of explore the lower tiers of EDL and find his game. Everyone has their own choice. I think personally, if you're out of tier 1 for a long time, the game is going to keep moving, and it'll be just, you may potentially put yourself back further, and it could be harder and harder to catch up to the game. At the same time, having fun is important, and if you're not always having a blast at dodgeball, reevaluate what you're doing and do what's best for you. Tour de Dodgeball. I'm super excited about Tour de Dodgeball because I made the team. I'm on Tour de Dodgeball. Myself, Witten, Kyle, Elena, Angie, Giselle, did I already say Witten? Oh yeah, Rogan's our new guy as well. And we're wearing cycling uniforms. They're not all pro cycling teams. Most of them should be pro cycling teams. Currently, I'm the only one that's wearing a team jersey that was actually in the Tour de France. I told everyone to go to the Wikipedia page and check up former Tour de France teams before you ordered your jersey. But apparently not everyone cares that much about the history of the Tour. Too bad on them. If anyone's interested, I'm wearing the HDC Columbia jersey from 2011. Not from 2011. Made famous by Mark Cavendish, who's just this amazing sprinter. If you're not into cycling and you really enjoy, 3 times a year being able to watch 20 days straight of 3-hour HD footage each day, just glorious commentary and soothing sounds, basically a big tourism ad for Europe, and then occasionally a really exciting sprint at the end. If you enjoy watching other people suffer while you can sort of just be an armchair cyclist and watch and enjoy, I highly suggest you get into cycling. You can talk to me about it all the time because I'm an avid cyclist TV fan. So yeah, I just wanted an excuse to wear really tight spandex at dodgeball and order this cycling jersey. It's generally frowned upon if you wear a team jersey while you're cycling out and about because you're like, oh, who's this guy? I think he's some pro cyclist. When you're not, so you just wear random scrubby jerseys and stuff. So this was my opportunity to do it because no one's going to frown on me here except for the fact that I'm wearing spandex. But hey, some people enjoy that. Half our team doesn't even have jerseys yet. I blame that on the Chinese shipping. It's too bad. But hey, we'll soldier on. Silverstrong and the Guardians of Gymnasia. Carmen famously is departing to Toronto for at least a little while. So they've picked up Jeff Kelly. So there's still Jeff Kelly. There's still Corey. There's Jim. Matt is supposedly on that team. I haven't seen him for a long time. You've got Nancy. You got a lot of fun on that team. After that, I don't have a lot of Wednesday knowledge. Like I said, there's 15 other teams, and there's 15 teams in Tier 1. I know about 6. I'm pretty high on the eliminators. There are a bunch of dudes that are really good. You haven't seen them around, like they've probably been playing for quite a while, and they're real good, solid players, and they're dangerous. Like they're closer to the lower end of Tier 1 presently, but that's because they've been running into some of the bigger teams each week, at least so far. But those guys can make some serious catches, serious tosses, and it seems like they have a pretty solid grasp on game strategy at least. So hey, be careful. They're not the team I would want to run into in the first round, is what I'm saying. That's enough for Wednesday. We'll finish it up here with Thursday. Thursday could be a lot of fun. Bunderwang on top presently. Of course, the usual Bunderwang fare. Christian, Amy, etc., etc. Bananas and Brown Egg. Again, lost Luke. But they've got... I think they picked up Shane because they didn't have Luke. That's the Brown Egg thing. I get it. Yeah. They got Carolyn, Matt Ho, Jay, a bunch of fun on that team. Really good players. They got Byron too. The Spartans, who have lost Matt Kennedy. Matt Kennedy is not with... I think he's probably going to play regular season with the Spartans. But as a fill-in for playoffs, they've got Cooper. And this is actually a pretty good home for Cooper because he fits sort of in with the Spartan mentality that they play hard every single game. They may not be playing like strategically super seriously, but they're always trying hard. They're very big, intimidating dudes, right? Cooper fits in no problem. So hey, maybe this is the season the Spartans will break through. But I would be sad to see them do it without Matt Kennedy, actually. If they're going to do it, I want to see them do it with Matt Kennedy. I want to see them do it with Mike Kennedy, too. I want double Kennedys. But so do a lot of people. Hey, imitators. The imitators are fun. The imitators are a pain in the ass to play against because they play, like, absurdly slow in the name of goofing off. And I think Thursday has a lack of massive arms, I think. That's not entirely true, but like it just feels slow sometimes, especially when you're in DT. And if a team is out there just sort of donging around, the night can go like right to the limits. It's only a concern to me because I'm execing on that night, and I like things to wrap up early. We got Soju Bomb, which is sort of the Yumi and Soju rehashed into a slightly different team. I think they have a pickup of a dude that usually plays on Enoch. Sorry for not knowing your name. But they're a great team, always dangerous. Monica and Christy are only getting better. Monica, when I do my top 5 chicks, Monica probably is gonna sneak in this season, and not necessarily like sneak in. She's gonna like crash her way in and blow down doors because Monica's seriously that good. One of the more patient players I've ever come across. She just has this unflinching desire to win games, and it can sometimes make the night go a little bit longer, but it's just so impressive. Like, she just has this mental fortitude to want to destroy people. The Don Tran Goon Squad doesn't feature Don Tran, so hey, why is it interesting? It's not. Night for Banana, the team I'm on, Kyle, Al, myself, Vinny, Danny, we got Colleen, we have Queenie, and I think we have a third girl too. Anna Ho, of course, the oft injured Anna Ho. I am frequently terrified for her safety, but that's between her and I. If you notice a common theme that I'm playing with Al and Kyle on almost every 3 nights of the 4 nights, you're right. It's gonna be an interesting experiment. I'm sure by the end of the season, none of us will talk to each other anymore. We'll just sort of show up at the gyms, play our game, and we'll leave. We'll be like the come on. Well, I don't know of any rap trios that never talk to each other, but we will be the rap trio equivalent in dodgeball. The dodgeball equivalent of a rap trio that raps together but doesn't talk to each other anymore. Can't do that one. I'm not going to make that joke. Disney's Recess, Vince BRB. It's Disney's Recess but without Vince. Good news, they had 5 guys before, now they have 4 guys. And, Disney's Recess is awesome. They're still going to be awesome. Without Vince. By without Vince, I mean without Nate, unless you're not up on their recess equivalents. they're going to miss Nate a lot. Nate was such a baller player, and he was only getting better. The fact that he has to go and better himself in school for a couple of years, man, what a jerk. Why wasn't he thinking about Disney Recesses legacy? Poison Six Pack is, I believe, the Gary team, like the Gary Marwin team of this season. That's cool. They'll do well. Hopefully, like, their girls are fucking sweet. The chicks they've got on Poison Six Pack are really good. Defensive, huge blockers, lots of catches, big tosses. Smash Brothers are back. The Sad Pandas, I don't know. Moves like Haggard, I feel like they're upwardly mobile this year. Hopefully they'll do bigger, more baller things. Darbs is always a bad dude. Hella bad. Ballbusters, Badass Black Sheeps and Pillsbury Doughball are good teams as well. So is Flem Balls, but I just don't know you guys that well at all. Ballbusters are baller busters. I love watching Steve play out there all the time. Hopefully they can stick around, get it together, and have some fun in Tier 1 with us this season. That's the end of my overview for the night, and that also I'm going to tie into how teams are doing so far. I gave you guys a pretty good run of how teams are doing so far, and you know what? The first 5-6 weeks of the season don't matter. You can't read anything out of how teams are performing right now, except for the fact that Knife and Banana likes to screw around all the damn time, and that's totally cool. I'm down with that. Anyone that's listening, I always advise against going super hard at the beginning of seasons. There's no need for that. You're not going, like, if you're finally tuned in week 3, keeping it up all the way, especially through like a 2-week spring break, is just going to be insane. Work on your personal game, sort of get stuff together, and try out new things. If you never try out new positions on the court, you'll never know if you've got sort of alternatives. And, you know, spoilers, a lot of teams are looking at you if they think you're going to be a good team to face in the playoffs, and they know your position. And so if they know who's in what position, they can actually match to that position, figure out what they want to do against you, and then come out with a really good game plan. And often enough, it works because no one, everyone sort of game plans for themselves, but not everyone sort of goes about it from a team-by-team perspective. And if you're doing that, it at least gives you a mental sort of advantage for the first little bit, I think. I don't know. But try things out. And if you have anything you want to hide from teams or try out, because you might want to use it against teams in playoffs, do it when they're not around. Don't show them during the season, because as soon as they know you can play it, they'll at least have that rally round in their backs and minds, and they won't be super surprised when they see you whip it out later in the playoffs. Oh, mama. What else have we got here? Yeah, I'm super excited for upcoming teams. I've already sort of mentioned Eat, Pray, Dodge. I think they're ballers. Moves Like Haggard is another team I think is upwardly mobile. Potentially, I would throw Oaktown in as well. I think Oaktown might have a hard-ish time this season, but they've got like a solid base. If they keep it up, they're young. They'll play a couple more seasons, and all of a sudden, they'll be out catching everybody. I think like a common theme is anyone that comes over from Ultimate has like a good sort of team play sense. They seem to be able to catch really well. I don't know how catching discs in one hand to catching balls in two translates, but it appears to carry over pretty well. Or it could just be that they're athletic people by nature, and they want to come, be athletic here in VDL. We're always down with that. So. Okay. I talked about this at the beginning. Thought to myself last night, Travis, if you could take your dodgeball time machine and go back to Season 1, join up with the Ballbusters again, sort of just appear at this crazy Week 1 of Season 1 of VDL, where very, very few people. You're at DT. It's a warm, like late summer afternoon. The execs are getting you to write on your like clothing or your like skin in these like body chalk things. a number so that refs will be able to call you out by number if you happen to get hit out. Everyone, like, just this crazy, weird, insane energy in the air because no one's played dodgeball before, and the fact like a dodgeball league is happening is just the most insane thing. And you get out there and you're dodging all over the place, you're jumping like a madman. I'm sliming around, I'm sliding like a worm, I'm throwing balls, I'm throwing my arm out, I'm doing irreparable damage. Would I go back? I don't know. The problem with going back is you'd have to give up so much cool stuff that's happened so far. Part of what makes Season 1 so fun to look back on now is that we have this collected history that's happened. And if you go back to Season 1 and that doesn't happen, then you miss out on all these, 15 seasons of, 14 and a bit, seasons of memories of playing and playoffs and people. And the thing I'm into most is the oral history of dodgeball. You hear me say that a lot, but it's true. There's this sort of shared consciousness that we have about all these games, and until the games got on YouTube, that's all there was. You had these recounts of games, and it was just like, yeah, these players are amazing. These are the best players ever. Here's what happened. You can only try to sort of remember what was going on. So someone's going to have to tell me when these videos started, but I'd say like pre-season 8 or 9, it was, all before video. And, pardon me, drink. It was all before video. And so, I wouldn't say largely, but by and large, all the memories from those are sort of getting lost. And the further we get away from them, certainly the further and less we'll remember about them. And so all you'll have are sort of like 1-word, 2-word descriptions and images, and that's all you have from that game. Unless you were playing in the game, that could be a little bit different. But for everyone who's watching, you'll sort of have like double catch or Bun stepping over the line or something like that. And so it's kind of same-ish to the transition between childhood and adulthood. There's sort of this mystical wonder that children have. I assume some children have the senses of mystical wonder and discovery. I had that here and there. I keep hearing about it as being a thing, and then I keep hearing about people losing it as they transition to adulthood. And so it's like you can always look back fondly on a time, but when you have to evaluate whether or not you would want to go back there, that's a different sort of question. I think I haven't defined, pardon me, again, me fucking up time travel, I haven't defined it super well. So it's like, do you go back with all the skills you have now? Do you ruin it all by going back and implementing strategy? Or are you just sort of doing a soft less of a soft reset, more of a hard reset of everything, and just saying like your knowledge, all dodgeball knowledge just goes back to ground zero, and you're starting off by, suffering through 3 seasons of dodging. And, I think it'd be a fun day. Sitcoms, movies, maybe some comic books. Frequently like to go back to something for a time travel episode. That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to go have like a time travel day to Season 1 and play. And see if my beliefs that the game was that poorly understood hold true. Like I take Boy Crisis back to Season 1 and just play the last couple weeks, play playoffs, and see like, man, would have we kicked their asses, or are we just talking shit? And the fact that we are super interested in the game now makes us think we're so much better than we were previously. And ultimately, I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think we're that much better than we think that we are, the initial seasons, and I don't think the initial seasons are that good and we're just overestimating them. So it's, as most things, it's somewhere in between. So yeah, this is just an episode chock full of Travis giving you half answers and sort of me sliding through gray areas. Oh man, what else can I throw on? this is sort of the case for Travis not going on tangents, because what if I go on a tangent and just don't have too much to talk about? I can always dip into my TV guy voice, not TV guy, radio DJ jockey. But you know, if I'm going into radio DJ jockey, you know I'm out of things. Oh yeah, so me having people on the show is always a fun thing. I do love to pick people's brains. I've also thought about the potential of having like a full-time guy. When I first sort of set out with Crosscourt, my intentions were do it solo until I could find a few people to sort of be like the pillars of Crosscourt with me, and sort of a few of us would be on the show every week, maybe 3 of us, and every so often I'd sit one out and bring in like a guest, and sort of, you know, there's always sort of an energy that is generated by having a couple of people, especially people you interact with really well. But so far the only person that I would consider having on full time is Trung. I think he's a dude that's certainly entertaining enough, and even if there's not like dodgeball content, he can bring something to the table, and it'll always be sort of an entertaining, worthwhile show. Matt Ho also comes to mind, but with Matt Ho, there's the chance that people will just turn away from the show and be like, fuck, I don't want to hear Matt Ho bitching about me, or shit-talking me, and I'm not going to listen to Crosscourt anymore. And you may think I'm not, like, ratings-minded. I'm bizarrely ratings-minded, and I blame YouTube for giving me access to Google Analytics and stuff, or the YouTube Analytics. Without them, I wouldn't care for shit. And also, let me hear your voices. Speak up. Talk to me if you desire these Crosscourts to be released through an MP3 file. Because if there is like legit interest, if there's people out there not listening to these things because they're on YouTube and they just can't YouTube for whatever reason, I will go and pay for a hosting site. It's only like $5 a month, and I will have hosting space where like 5 gigs worth of Crosscourt can be downloaded, and you know, I'll let the people know who really want to download it by audio file. The rest of us are free to listen to it on YouTube if we want. Only because I respect that people have MP3 players or phones still, and they don't want to use their data all the time. I blame Canadian telecoms. Canadian telecoms, if you're listening, you're all pieces of shit. I really dislike you. As a rule, you're providing us with third world service for something that should be a lot cheaper than it is. I've watched sort of some trials too, where your execs are saying that we could absolutely do it for cheaper, but we choose not to because you're gouging people and you're stabbing us. You're ruining families is what you're doing. Canadian telecoms ruining families since like '93, and they're gonna try to make it worse too. Pieces of shit. Sorry, guys. I know there's a lot of you that work for these telecoms, but don't like you. It's not your fault at all. You have no say in the pricing, unless you do, in which case, inform me of it, and I'll hit you at dodgeball, if I can, or I'll get my bigger, stronger friends to hit you at dodgeball. With a ball, of course. I'm not threatening physical violence. That's just absurd. You know I'm joking when I say these things. But no, I do dream of a future where you all have unlimited data on your phones. You can stream Crosscourt. We can stream the show live. I can stream the show live while I'm like sitting on a park bench. That would be really cool. But you know, the Canadian government never upped our infrastructure, and we all have shitty ADSL cables running everywhere. I don't know too much about that, but I do like to be mad about it. I like to be mad about a lot of things, and this is one of them. So yeah. That being said, like Trung, if you're listening and you have serious interest in doing this show all the time, I know there's demand there for it. Gino's suggestion was just have Trung on all the time, and that's a suggestion I agree with completely. Shout out to C-Wang for having the most... What? Crosscourt went away. C-Wang's interest in Crosscourt never left. Consistently from December 10th to December 10th to the 4th of March. Chris was giving me solid questions every couple days. Not always questions, but comments. He wants to see myself do live commentary on past Crosscourt episodes, which would be way too meta, and I still think yeah, why not? It's possible. We can make it happen. So shout out to C-Wang. C-Wang is still my favorite dude in the VDL. He is the most entertaining guy in the world. I don't think anything he says is random. It comes from like a very highly cognitive set of experiences. He has a library of things, and he's just able to pull things out so fast. If you haven't, here's a little cross promotion. If you haven't watched his unboxing videos, he's so far unboxed a soju bottle, he's unboxed a sandwich, he's unboxed a lot of things, and it's so fun. It's everything a YouTube video should be. It's lighthearted, it's intelligent, it's silly, it's goofy, it's non-sexual. So good, so good. Yeah. So, I am always listening to people's ideas. If you want solo guest format all the time, I'll listen to that. If you want couple guests and we just hang out and we bring on or couple solid people that are always on, and then guests here and there, we'll do that too. I think that's eventually, once I've ran through people a few times and sort of know who really wants to do the show, there just won't be guests to bring on anymore, except here and there as relevant, once we've ran through people's life stories. And so, yeah, I'm always interested in looking around in different things. Finally, man, all right, if you've stuck around this long, if you're still here at 59:45, I know you're in deep. I haven't given you gold today. I appreciate that, but I appreciate you sticking around. Do you remember a couple weeks ago on the VDL, the Vancouver Dodgeball page on Facebook, some guy basically came along and was like, "Hey, do any leagues around here play with these rules?" and directed, to a site like the Hamilton Dodgeball League or something, and made the comment like, these teams would destroy Vancouver teams. And I was like, well, okay, that's cool. So, it's a totally valid question. Do any teams play with these rules? The rules, I don't know what the rules are, because the page was kind of a gong show, hard to understand. I think the games last like 50 minutes. Totally, so it's dodgeball from like another perspective, which is super cool. Like if you like football, there's so many iterations of football, or American football, there's soccer football, there's Aussie rules, there's Gaelic football, and they all have sort of just very different things about them. Rugby's got its distinctions too. And so, the guy sticks around. I wouldn't say he's combative, but basically it's like, this league, for some reason Hamilton just has better dodgeball players than Vancouver, and they would shit kick all of you. And so it's just like, if I'm a guy on Facebook and I really want to piss off a group of people, I'm going to go to their page and tell them they all suck and whatever they're doing is wrong. And that's kind of what happened. Shout out to Maz, for Maz and Cooper and Kyle for being so diplomatic and being nice dudes. 'Cause, I wasn't a fan of the way things were handled on there. It's just like, I think the guy was just curious, ultimately, is what he was. He was curious. A little good-natured ribbing, I think. Maybe trying to spur us into trying new things, which is always fine. Some people require a little spurring to try new things. But for a team with for a league with as much history as the VDL has, I think any sort of restructuring of the rules to that extent, where the gameplay is entirely different, and refs actually have to come from home to ref because it's not realistic to actually play with your team on the same night you ref, because you're going to have to be there for an hour, is just, it's unrealistic. We'd have to start from scratch and create a brand new league to put in rules changes this big, because I'm sure most of our player base will be like, well, this isn't the same game anymore. I'm going to go try to play VDL Dodgeball elsewhere, because there's other places playing VDL Dodgeball. It's true. Good places too. So yeah, that was that. I didn't need to get that off my chest, but it was an interesting thing, a weird thing that happened on the VDL boards. Our boards are usually a pretty tame place. T-shirt contest coming up. I want to see some sweet stuff out of the T-shirts. The Harlem Shake has kind of come and went. Luckily, VDL got on top of it. As usual, Chris Wang was the best thing about that video. You know, it was cool. It was a great effort. It almost deviated too far from the established Harlem Shake criteria in that people sort of moved away from the frame to finish it up with the dodgeballs, but the slow motion really brought it back together at the end. I thought it was a valiant effort. It doesn't rank amongst my favorites, because, like, have you seen the one where they do it underwater? If someone doesn't look like they're having a grand mal seizure in the Harlem Shake video, no. If it doesn't look like 3 people are having grand mal seizures in the Harlem Shake video, you know, it's not going to crack my top 5, because there's so much energy in some of these videos. And so it would have been good if, because, you know, the rally cry was out there. It would have been awesome if, like, 1,200 people, everyone in the league, showed up to this one video. We would have had a fun time. Would have been a better showing. But, you know, Saturday nights, you've been playing dodgeball all week. Who needs to go make a dodgeball video? I was away in Hawaii. Otherwise, I would have been there. If I wasn't in Hawaii, you know, I would have been fucking front and center for that Harlem Shake video, just because I still think it's one of the best things in the world. I avoided it for a long time because I was like, oh wait, you Harlem Shake, but they're not actually Harlem Shaking. This can't possibly be good. And of course, with most internet trends, I was wrong. What else is going on? Oh, there was a Fit and Fun, a TV segment from 24/604. It was on Shaw. I think it was on TV this weekend too. I was part of it. I was interviewed and helped do a little thing for this on-air personality, and it was fun. We had a blast. Hopefully, it gets the message about dodgeball out there to all of the intrepid, active bodies that are watching Shaw Community Channel on the weekends. But, you know, super cool, super nice people that ran it. Any publicity for VDL is good publicity, unless, you know, someone happens to be a psycho killer and also be like a part of the VDL. In that case, that's bad publicity. We don't want it. But yeah, no, I'm going to wrap things up now because by and large, I'm happy with where we've gone so far. This was just sort of a recap. I had to do this episode because it's very easy for me to not do episodes. But as soon as I feel like I have a commitment to something, as soon as I start doing it once, it's like, well, now I have to do it every week. And they'll come at you fast. They'll come at you furious. I'm going to get Darren Domingo of the CDL on. I'm going to get Recess on. I'm going to get Trung on again. I'm going to get Bows. Ooh, I hope I can get Victoria. I think I want to get Jay as well. Jay Chow would be an extremely interesting interview. There's so many things I want to do, so many people I want to get on. Maybe I'll let Carolyn and Shane interview me later in the season. Maybe there's demand for that. Maybe you don't know enough about me already. But yeah, so stay tuned, everyone. It's going to be a really exciting season. I think you're going to hear a whole lot of my radio voice coming out all the time. Coming out from 101.5, the Dodge FM. We can have wacky sound effects. It can be as crazy or as serious as you want it to be. I always take your input into my heart, brain, memory. I always consider it, at the very least, is what I'm trying to say. So we're approaching a minute and 7 seconds here. An hour and 7. Holy Christ. It hasn't just been a minute. We've been doing this for an hour already. So I apologize for rambling on. I apologize for not being the most exciting dude in the world today. Hopefully I've made up for the lack of excitement with a surplus of energy. I always think I've got some energy. You know, shout out to my Game of Thrones Lannister Cup. If you're high on Game of Thrones, the new season is coming out soon on the 31st of March. My favorite house is still the Lannisters. I love the Lannisters for tons of reasons. They're good people. They're just trying to find their way in this crazy world we call Westeros. They're just doing all they can, man. Just working hard. Again, another shout out to my weekend at Bernie's viewing party. It can happen as quickly as you guys want it to. It can happen as soon as this weekend, potentially. So Lots of fun to come, guys. I've got a bitchin' computer now, so I can compress stuff super fast. So, give me your suggestions. Hit me up at Crosscourt Live, or on Gmail at crossthedamncourt@gmail.com. Be very careful when you do that one, because spoilers, I never check it. I should tie it to my phone though. I'll tie all Google integrate together and check it more often. Finally, have a safe week at Dodgeball. I think by the time you're listening, you'll have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night to play, and then you'll have 2 weeks off, or possibly 3 weeks off if you're Monday night from Dodgeballs. Hopefully you join back here. Use Crosscourt to get you hyped for the second half of the season, the best half of the season. So anyways, I'm out. Enjoy the music. Enjoy whatever I've been able to drum up for you guys this week. If I had my way, you'd be listening to Carly Rae Jepsen's Tonight I'm Getting Over You right now, but I'm pretty sure that would either get me sued or have this impossible to watch in most places. So we'll do something else. Maybe we'll listen to some Walkman. I'm going to put on the Walkman if I can. If not, I'm sorry. Have a great week. See you guys. Bye.
Don't care much for the go-go or the retro image I see so often telling me to keep trying. Maybe you'll get here someday. Keep up the working. Okay, 'cause the book on them right there. I see myself change as the days change over. I hear the songs and the words don't change. I write them out of the book right there. We've been had. You say it's over. Sometimes I'm just happy.